I'm sorry. I just have a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. I'm very passionate. So many tangents that I'm gonna cut the fuck out. Wow, that was a fucking tangent. Back to this book. Oh, I'm just gonna scream at the camera about how much I love Kit and Ty. There will be spoilers for the Infernal Devices, the Mortal Instruments, and possibly side novellas as well. So if you are interested in the Cassandra Clare Shadowhunter universe and you have not read this or anything before it, then I wouldn't watch this. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. So basically I wanted to make this video because I attempted to do a wrap up, trying to make a video for that, and I wanted to talk about this book, and I spent so much time in that video talking about this book that I just feel like it deserves its own video. If you couldn't tell, I'm very invested. I had a lot of thoughts, I had a lot of emotions, as this is the third book in a series, and this is the, like, if you count everything that Cassandra Clare has written in this universe, this is really like this is like the 15th book in her Shadowhunter world. I have read Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows, and so I'm kind of just going to give a brief, like, my thoughts on the Dark Artifices at the moment. I think that Lord of Shadows is the best in the series. That's my personal opinion. I think that Lady Midnight was really good. I think it was written really well. I think, like, the whole situation where you find out stuff about who's the real villain, like, that was so good. I loved so many things about the Dark Artifices. Dark Artifice is probably my second favorite, which I know is not a popular, I think a lot of people say it's their favorite. I actually would say that my favorite is the Mortal Instruments as a series altogether, all 6 books. I just enjoyed them the most. However, Tessa, Jim, and Will have, like, they occupy my mind rent-free all the time. So it's a weird experience because definitely the Infernal Devices has, like, the best set of characters, but I would consider myself a heavily plot-driven reader, so I think that is why the Mortal Instruments is my, I don't want to say preferred, but it's definitely the series I enjoyed the most. And then the Dark Artifices is probably the series I enjoyed the second most. I also just don't always love books set in, like, historical settings, so I just don't think that I was really set up to love the Infernal Devices, especially as much as some of y'all out there, like, are. I mean, I get it, like, I understand. There's just a lot that I have to say before I get here, because obviously there's a lot that's happened. So if you somehow, listen, if you're here and you don't know what these books are or what they're about, I don't know why you'd be on this video. Okay, so the Dark Artifices, second favorite series in my opinion, for sure. I definitely think that Lord of Shadows was my favorite book in this series. I was listening to the audiobook of Lord of Shadows, and, like, at the last 2 chapters I was like, I just have to physically, like, I have to just, like, I need to get through this. Like, I want to know what's going to happen so bad. I mean, the suspense and everything that Cassandra Clare did at the end of that book was just so good. Like, that was probably one of the best reading experiences I think I've ever had. I agree with a lot of the criticisms about this book. I find that it left some things to be desired. I think there was some things at the end that were a little bit of a cop-out. But I'm going to talk about like the first third, middle, and the last third. So the first third, I did feel dragged on a lot. There was so much. There's just a lot of character, like, knowing, like, how everyone's reacting to the traumatic events of Lord of Shadows. Like, I get it. I found it boring as a person who just loves a plot. I like a messy, busy plot. So, I mean, the beginning, I honestly don't really have a lot of thoughts about. I do know that, like, I think it's the beginning, like, the whole Aline and Helen showing up, and then Mark, like, you know, I haven't read this book since the beginning of August, and I still remember all these characters, and I still find them to be just, I mean, I've seen this in other people's videos, but can we just talk about how Clary, like, was having a dream about her dying, And then like the actual thing where she dies was like the parallel universe, because that was just like, that was so like, and I saw so many reviews that were like, oh my gosh, like the deaths that happened, the deaths that were gonna happen, like I couldn't see it coming. And I'm like, I thought Clary was gonna die. Like I really thought she was gonna die. I was just like, oh my gosh, Cassandra Clare is finally going to go there. And I know she had like, there was talks I've seen where she was gonna like possibly kill off Henry from the Infernal Devices, which like would have been absolutely the middle of the book. When we have Thule, I mean the whole entire situation with Livy, and that I kind of did want Livy to come back with him, but it makes sense why she would not. So the whole situation with Livy being in Thule was really great. I really liked that. I liked that. I mean, I think a lot of people didn't like it and they think it was cheesy, but I really liked it. But I really just want to talk about like the endings, like the things that happened at the end. I just want y'all to know that I read it and that I agree with what's being said and what, like some things that are being said. I definitely think that the Zara Dearborn, like the entire situation where she like stays behind in Idris, when they stay behind in Idris, and like all the other shadow hunters like go into the actual real world, like I was eating that shit up. I was like, this is so interesting. Like, this is so good. I liked that a lot. Magnus and Alec, their entire situation in this book was amazing. Could have had 12 more chapters of it. Would have loved every second of it. Absolutely amazing. So good. Kit and Ty. I'm just gonna scream at the camera about how much I love Kit and Ty. Like Ty's entire existence, literally Ty is written so well. I loved his character so much. I loved everything about him. I loved Ty. I don't know how to describe it. I can't tell you why. I just literally had me thinking like, Ty is amazing. And then when we met Kit, and after, of course, in the Dark Artifices, you find out more about Kit and like his ancestry. Like I was eating that shit up, eating it up. Like it's so good. The Dark Artifices is so good, and of course, like it's only good if you know. Well, I'm sure it's good even if you don't, but you're gonna. I don't know. Like it's so good. Okay. Let me not just sit here and say it's good. I'm sorry, I really liked Thule. I know people don't like Thule, but I fucking loved it. I thought it was, I don't know, I haven't read a lot of fantasy, so I feel like people say it shows up all the time. Like, where? What other book has that? And if it has, honestly, if you know other books that have that, please tell me what they are. So that's my thoughts on Thule. Mark, Christina, and Ian, I'm pretty sure it's Ian, and the whole thing with like the fairy courts, and the whole entire thing where they like have a house at the end about how they're going to be able to like, and they all go off in different directions. Amazing. Okay, honestly, I just have to say, like for some reason, like all of Cassandra Clare's books, the side characters are better, except for the Infernal Devices. Like the Infernal Devices definitely has side characters that I love, like Charlotte Bronwell, amazing. Magnus in the Infernal Devices is like so good. Tessa is probably my favorite. I mean, there's no one above Simon except potentially Matthew Fairchild. Like Matthew Fairchild, who I have only read the short stories from. No, I have not read Chain of Gold. I have not read it because I want to save it. I know that it's good. There's so many people that say like it's her best work. It's the greatest thing she's written, which like I think I will agree, especially if it has like, I know it's gonna have Anna Lightwood, and I know that it will be good. I don't know. I want to save it for like a slump coming on, because I know that like, because Cassandra Clare is literally the author that I never read books. I did not read books until this year when quarantine happened, and I was like, what am I going to do with my time? And I was like, I'm going to read Cassandra Clare, found her. I don't know, BookTube is all about Cassandra Clare. So here I am. Back to this book. I mean, we have Kit and Ty. Kit and Ty are probably like my favorite thing ever. So I cannot wait for the Wicked Powers. Like, I'm so excited for the Wicked Powers. Yeah, the whole Alec and Magnus situation was 10 out of 10. Clary and Jace showing up is whatever. Again, back to my point that like all of Cassandra Clare's side characters are so much better, especially in the Mortal Instruments and the Dark Artifices. Like those, like both of those, like have I even said the name Emma and Julian yet? No. I definitely think that Emma and Julian's love story for me like was the best. Oh, I don't know. I want to say Lord of Shadows. It was like the best. Like I was the most intrigued by it in Lord of Shadows. I kind of wish that like they had just gotten together in Lord of Shadows and then Queen of Air and Darkness could have been a story all about everyone besides them, because like I just did not care about reading about how they couldn't be together and their love is so forbidden, and like, yeah, I get it, Cassandra, I get it, you just, that's what she likes to write, but she can write other stuff so well, and I just wish she could like, I wish that other stuff was the focus. There was things at the end of this book that were like, oh my gosh, is she really gonna do, like, it would have been such, she would have really popped off, it would have really fucking popped off. It would have slapped so fucking hard if Emma, I mean, the entire story of the Dark Artifices is like all about Julian being like, I'm willing to do whatever for my family. I'm willing to do whatever to be with Emma. I'm willing to do anything. And then if Emma had actually done, y'all know at the end when she almost broke the Parabatai bond thing, if she had actually done that, that would have been such, like that would have been a way better, would have been way better. Like I would have been like, oh my god, are you kidding? Like, first of all, the whole time you have Julian telling you that like it was so in your face. I feel like it was so in your face. Like there were so many times in the book that she would say something like Julian was doing this thing and it was evil and he was doing this, like I just felt like it was so in your face about how Julian was like not a good person. And then if Emma had been the one to break the Parabatai bond, I would have ate that shit up. I would have been like, oh my god. And then, because they say the Wicked Powers is like the greatest threat yet, like.
And you don't have the what are y'all gonna do? You don't have the
But no, what actually happened was, what is it? Jim like pulls her out of the wherever they are in the thing where she's gonna break it, and then someone pulls her away from it, and it doesn't happen, and then they like do something and then become angels, and then the only way that they like go back to being normal and they can just be together and everything is fine, or the way that they like save them is by being like, we love you. Like the Parabatai thing and then like the reveals behind that was so good. That's what Cassandra Clare knows how to do a reveal about like the mythology and the past. Cassandra Clare knows how to do that. That shit always slaps. Like every ending to her books, like whether there were reveals or whatever, so good. So like when I finished this book, I gave it 3 stars, and I had to change that. I had to move it up mostly because of Kit and Ty, but then also because of Christina and Mark. Kieran. Wow, I called him Ian earlier at some point, I think, and it's definitely Kieran. And I definitely like the name Kieran better. Sorry, no offense if your name is Ian. I mean, yeah, there was some cool stuff with Emma. There was a lot of fairy stuff. Like that was the whole Dark Artifices had so much good stuff about like fairies and how like if you've read the Mortal Instruments, then like you understand like it's obviously not justified, but like if you've read the Mortal Instruments, then you know like why people are behaving the way they're behaving, because of course like Sebastian had the fairies as an ally, and like, oh man, this just I cannot believe I ever gave this 3 stars when I finished this. I have not read this in 2 months, and I still think about these characters, and I still think about what happened, and I just cannot wait for the Wicked Powers. Oh, this was a good series. This was a really good series. And the ending to this, there was a lot of setup for the Wicked Powers, which I didn't love. Okay, but also, hi. I just remembered who is on the cover of this book. So, Annabelle. Was she even in this book? Like, she was hard. What did she even... What? And then, okay, also, so there's like, what, 5, like, crazy things that happen at the end. So we have Zara Dearborn, like, staying in Idris, and every other Shadowhunter leaving. Alec becoming the Inquisitor, like, so here for that. The Emmett and Julian bullshit, that was probably the weakest thing at the end. That was just so, like, I really wish that she had made Emma break all the parabatai bonds. Like, I would have just... That would have slapped so hard. So that's where I'm at with that. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure, was it this book? Malik... I keep saying Malik and Agnes. Alec and Magnus get married in this book, and then there's like a bunch of stuff about their wedding and how that's all set up, and it was super cute and super adorable. The stuff that Alex says about like how Magnus will always be able to tell everyone that he encounters about Alec, and it'll be this like, it was like a full circle moment, because if you read City of Lost Souls, you know just how angst like and crazy Alec was about Magnus's like immortality, and like hearing and reading him in this book like change his tone to a much more positive tone was just absolutely beautiful. So I loved that. I loved the like Aline and Helen stuff, with like Aline being like, what are y'all doing? Like, you need to listen to my girl. That was dope. I was the most interested in Kid and Ty, which is why I'm so excited for the Wicked Powers. I mean, a gay autistic main. I mean, your girl knows how to write good characters and a good story. All the series, they took up a lot of my time this year, and I never want that time back. I want to spend more time in these books yet again. I will reread them probably forever. I'll probably read them like every other year for forever. Who knows what I'll do in the future? I don't know. But let's talk about the very, very, very end, like last sentence in the book end, because as much as I hate Clary and Jace as like a romance, well, okay, I don't hate them. I definitely am more interested in other characters besides, like way more interested in other characters besides them, but like I can appreciate like the angst, you know, like I can appreciate it. Like I can appreciate the angst behind Clary and Jace being their thing. Like I can appreciate it for what it is. Like it's fine. It's not my favorite part of the book, but the fact that she ended this with Thule Jace coming in to look for the real Clary, and like it was, I mean, the dark artifices though, there's so much that happens. Hello, I cannot believe that I almost forgot to mention Diana and Gwen. I mean, he was like, Gwen is like that big burly teddy bear man, and he did such a good job dealing with Diana's like past and like reacting to it in such a positive, happy way. And it was so nice to see that in a fantasy story. Like there's just, oh my god, y'all, like there's literally, when I'm thinking about this book, like the only thing I did not like was the Emma and Julian parabatai resolve. I didn't enjoy how that got resolved. That's like my only complaint. Everything else, as far as like Zara Dearborn, yeah, I fucking hate her, because like we all should. Like she's absolute garbage trash. But like, man, she's gonna make for a really good antagonist, I think. She's gonna make a really good antagonist. I mean, I think there's gonna be more than one antagonist in the Wicked Powers. I didn't even mention all the characters in this book because like I just don't have time. So these are my thoughts on Queen of Air and Darkness. So if you have read it, I like literally like call me. Let's have tea. Let's discuss it. Let's FaceTime. Like, hello. I know y'all are out there. I need you to find me. I need you to tell me. Like, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about this book. I need to have people that like, if you like this book and you know other books like it and you can recommend shit like this to me, then like please do it. So yes, I would absolutely fucking love that. If anybody can give me more recommendations like this series, like this vibe. To recap, those are my thoughts on Queen of Air and Darkness. So feel free to let me know if you agree, disagree, leave me a comment. If you watch this whole video, thank you so, so much. I will be leaving my Instagram, my Twitter, my Goodreads, all in the description below. I will see you guys in my next video. If you enjoyed the video, I would love it if you subscribed, and I would love it the most if you follow me on Instagram. I'm definitely the most active on Instagram, and I love talking to everybody about books, especially Queen of Air and Darkness. So hit me up. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.